Let's call the Monday, September 19th, 2022 meeting of the Dalton City Council to order. Mr. Bach will lead us in the pledge. States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For you, agenda, any additions, corrections, deletions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to be approved. Motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Goodlet, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is public commentary. We've got no cards. We've got a proclamation that I'll read. Is anybody here from the National Long-Term Care? No, I'll read it from here. National Long-Term Care Residents' Rights Month, really it's October 2022. Whereas there are 1.3 million individuals living in 15,600 nursing homes and over 800,000 individuals living in 28,900 assisted living and residential care facilities. Whereas the Federal Nursing Home Reform Act of 1987 guarantees residents their individual rights in order to promote and maintain their dignity and autonomy. And whereas all residents should be aware of their rights so they may be empowered to live with dignity and self-determination. Whereas we wish to honor and celebrate these citizens, to recognize their rich individuality and to reaffirm their right to vote and participate politically, including the right to have a say in their care. Whereas individuals and groups across the country will be celebrating Residents' Rights Months with their theme, Inspiring Unity Within Our Community, emphasizing the importance of fostering meaningful community, encouraging residents' connection to their local. Therefore be resolved, I, David Pennington, Mayor of the City of Dalton, Georgia, hereby proclaim October 2022 is National Long-Term Care Residents' Rights Month, and the City of Dalton encourage all citizens to join me. Organization for what they do for our community. Next, the minutes before you are the mayor and council minutes of the September 6th, 2022. Corrections, additions, deletions.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sounds, second by Mr. Fair. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. Unfinished business number 3, second reading of ordinance 22-21. 98, Article 5, to provide the addition of section 9850 entitled naming buildings, streets, parks, bridges, and other property. Applications, procedure.
Mayor and council, as we discussed at the last city council meeting, the purpose of this is to add section 9850 Code of Ordinances to establish guidelines for naming city-owned streets, sidewalks, buildings, facilities, parks, bridges, and other public spaces, basically any facility that the city owns with an asset value. There were no substantial changes from the first reading, just a couple of small edits. But to remind the mayor and council, the criteria would be to create 3 provisions for naming after a person or local history. And those 3 criteria are: number 1, naming it based on the local history, context name, and the applicant would have to submit a one up of the local history that the staff would review. The natural or historic, that would be like the geographic location of the facility, natural features in the immediate proximity, or use, site, structure, or place of historic or cultural significance. And then the final criteria would be a commemorative name, which would be an individual, family, and or group of historic or cultural significance with civic contributions to the facility or the city. And in that case, the person must be deceased. The final commemorative name criteria would be an individual, family, or group who has made a significant financial contribution to the city or the facility. And in that case, the person doesn't have to be deceased. The last thing I'll mention is that this ordinance also creates an application procedure that clerk's office with a $300 non-refundable admin fee. The staff will review the application, and write-up that the applicant provides, and then ultimately the city council will make. There was a question that came up, Councilmember Sams asked at the last meeting in regards to street naming. The fire department would still nothing about this ordinance change. Our existing street naming procedures adds to those and complements what we've already got.
Questions? Your motion? Motion by Mr. Mock, is there a second?
Second. Aye.
Tract of land building point. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If everyone has been packet, see this request for medium density residential. Motion. And standard recommendation. The only application of this property is and to create a spot. Staff recommendation is not approved. Numerous individuals of this neighborhood. Picture. That recommendation is live.
I know where it is.
Question.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, I'd like to point out that we provided the mayor and council a substitute. There was a typo in the places the one in the packet.
Where was the packet? Motion on this?
Motion to deny.
Motion on this.
Second.
Aye.
Files request of Maria Gonzalez and Edgar Hurtado to annex 0.17 acres located 1517 Hale Bowen Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This particular annexation is part of development along Fraser Drive. Those properties addressed from Hale Bowen. Those properties, part of this development, it is actually accessed by a private drive, which accesses Fraser. So it's a unique situation, but long story short, it's a part of the county, incorporated county. Spurs and annexation requested by the petitioner. Staff recommendation is essentially owners of the islands. Did recommend that the staff approve this annexation. Annexation necessary. We did make it clear to the petitioner that may be certain issues with regard to receiving certain services, as mentioned by Public Works in terms of private drive. We know the issue with staff minutes and this extreme county island.
I do. I think we're.
Plan using county specifications, not a city specifications. As far as the grass, the rest of the city vehicles and fire department. Which was noted in the fire department's letter to the council.
Had issues with the trash.
Yeah.
That neighborhood.
It wasn't designed in the city. City subdivision. I think it would depend on this kind of.
How, these blue ones that are on here. That are on.
Brought into
Fraser,
the city.
On Ethan, even a few of these have already been annexed.
3 of these have been.
And we've, that when we started having, I'm looking at Chad, trouble with the trash pickup because the truck can't turn.
This was not bothered.
These are the same ones that we was talking about, probably trying to do an umbrella.
These are the ones where the people bought it. They thought they were buying. in the
Yeah,
city.
in the
They
city.
thought they were gonna go to school at Park Creek. The realtors had put part on the MLS. It said you go to Park Creek Elementary. People thought they were buying in the city.
Something about it. We approved, not seems that. Provide this service. Now, people thinking of getting around by saying county coming back. That creates an issue. To accept. What we did was realize a lot of people don't realize. We're not receiving that. Dive into, or we do anything.
I would like to make a motion to table it to discuss further.
Second,
Motion by Ms. Sam, second by
how long do they have? When we table this, do they?
All our procedures have been done.
Goodland. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We need to dive into that ordinance that we passed 10 years ago, whatever, because this, people understand, city specifications are, and we weren't gonna allow anybody else to build in the city. Figure out, hey, we'll just build it in the county and then ask to be annexed to the city and.
Were these other 3 done at the same time? Were they all individual?
They were individual. Fronted, Frank Drive, and then one was actually on this house on the left, on this private drive situation.
So was this an,
Discussions on this one, I don't think this. Worried about the city scope.
Initially, that was the concern years ago, that there was capacity, and then when the firm actually presented itself, some concern that these.
Yeah.
Ours as
City,
ours bought these with the understanding.
I mean, this, I don't think the problem is what.
If this is something we could address maybe at the finance meeting to put on the agenda for the purpose of discussion, not to vote, can we look back at the discussion and the recommendations around these three properties? Those happen, and what the votes.
Also, where the ordinance that we passed in every question. You don't have the option not to build the city specification.
yeah, because when they listed these, I had a couple of people call me. They were saying that they were gonna Park Creek, Dalton Middle School, and actually these kids go to East. Right beside Park Creek.
I think the two on Fraser Drive, there wasn't a problem with the fire trucks, Chief Pangle, because those are no different to be serviced than the properties. But this one at Elbowen, it's different, but the two on Fraser were, maybe there wasn't an issue about servicing those originally, because on the backside. Are there driveways on Fraser? Are there driveways on
Yeah.
Fraser?
Some of. Access and all. Still. You're not aware.
Greens, it's green space.
Yeah.
They're gonna go down Elbowen. I remember something different about the Fraser ones that are.
Benefits of being old, you understand, I keep hearing this Hal Bowen, it's Hale Bowen. It's.
Well, I got that southern.
And it's a long time ago, you know. So we take-
I actually still have the pictures if y'all need them. I actually still have the pictures.
Investigate this thing fully here. Also, obviously, we don't want to give people the impression that they can build not to city specifications, then we. Number 6.
Mayor, this is our first contract amendment with Greg Sims and their original services agreement to make about 4 changes. One is to budget for the cost of the work from 4.5 million based on our latest forecast for the project based on the scope. Also revises the milestone dates that the contract completion documents are supposed to be complete by the architect by January. Construction is scheduled to commence February. Project will be substantial. Construction.
Motion by Mr. Farah, second by Mr. Mock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like. 7, Falcon Construction Contract for renovations and additions to John Davis. Road.
Caitlin Sharp and I have been working with Greg Sims Architects as it relates to that, which we just described. We received proposals, the RFP review unanimously voted to recommend Felker Construction Company Incorporated to serve as the CM at risk. their fee to serve as the CM at risk $1,000 for pre-construction services, and then 8% should the council amendment. By the architect and the project committee and
Aye.
Contract for carpet cleaning and public. Evening, Mayor and Council. Public cleaning contract. Already been executed at the department head level. Payments were well. Public Works facility. Very motion.
So moved. Aye.
Aye.
Establish an effective date for September. After the effective date of this order.
Mayor, I'll speak to this. About 3 years ago, the council voted to authorize sections 2611 in our city code. Folks donate clothes or other things, and they're in our effort, tying back to the city council's goal of improving the curb appeal of the city, staff recommends that the council consider repeal already, because we'll observe that the donation bins are unsightly and create unhealthy. Permittees often don't maintain the bin. That's, in many cases, these donation bins are vendors. The ordinance as proposed, there's about 5 or 6 bins that are fine, should they not be. And this is just a first reading, and we'll
Business.